You blinked, and it was December again. The year is almost gone. You can barely remember where it went. Somewhere between a Tuesday you've already forgotten and a weekend that dissolved into nothing, 12 months slipped through your fingers. You feel it, don't you? Time is speeding up. When you were 7, a single summer stretched out like an ocean. One school year felt like an entire era. The gap between birthdays was almost unbearable. And now? Now the seasons blur. Now you say this year flew by without even thinking about it. Now whole decades seem to fold into a single sentence. So what happened? Did time actually change? Did the clock start spinning faster the moment you turned 25? No. The clocks are exactly the same. A second is still a second. A year is still 365 sunrises. Nothing outside of you has sped up at all, but the real answer is far stranger. Because the speed of time was never measured by clocks. It was measured by your brain. And your brain has been quietly changing the rules on you your entire life. Let's go back to the beginning. When you were a child, everything was new. Your first taste of the ocean, your first day at school, the first time you rode a bike without falling, the first time you understood a joke. Every single day was packed with things your brain had never seen before, and your brain did something remarkable with all of it. It recorded. It filed away every new sight, every new smell, every new feeling in vivid, high-resolution detail. This is the key. Your brain doesn't measure time by the clock. It measures time by memory, by how much new information it absorbs and stores. And when you're young, you are absorbing everything, constantly, because everything is a first. A psychologist named William James wrote about this all the way back in 1890. He noticed that in youth, we have an intense and vivid experience of the world, and that this vividness is exactly what makes those early years feel so long when we look back on them. He said that as we age, our days and weeks smooth themselves out and collapse. The years grow hollow. He was describing something you feel every December, more than a century before you were born. So here is the first strange truth. The reason your childhood felt endless was not that time was slower. It was that your childhood was dense. Every day was crammed with novelty, and your brain, looking back, saw a rich, detailed, enormous stretch of life. Now think about a normal Tuesday last month. You woke up to the same alarm, you took the same route, you saw the same faces, had the same coffee, did the same work, scrolled the same feeds. Your brain had seen all of it 1,000 times before. So it did something efficient and a little bit heartbreaking. It stopped recording. Why waste storage on something you already know? Your brain compressed the whole day into a single familiar pattern. Tuesday. Nothing new here. And a day that leaves no memories, when you look back on it, feels like it barely happened at all. This is why the years feel faster as you age. Not because you have less time, because you have less novelty. Your life has become predictable, and predictable time collapses. But there's a second layer to this, and it's even sharper. There's an idea sometimes called the proportional theory, first suggested by a man named Paul Janet in the 19th century. It goes like this. When you are 1 year old, that single year is 100% of your entire life. It is everything you have ever known. When you are 10, a year is only 1/10 of your life. And when you are 50, a single year is just 1/50th of everything you've ever lived. Do you see what that means? Each passing year is a smaller and smaller slice of the whole. To a 5-year-old, waiting a year for their next birthday is waiting through 20% of their entire existence. To you, right now, a year is a thin sliver, a fraction so small it slides by almost unnoticed. Mathematically, your life is shrinking in proportion even as it grows in length. The summers get shorter because each one is a smaller piece of you. So now you know 2 forces are working against you. Novelty fades, and every year becomes proportionally smaller. Together, they make time feel like it's accelerating toward a vanishing point. But here's the question that actually matters. If your brain speeds up time by removing novelty, then can you slow it back down by adding it back? And the answer, quietly, is yes. Think about the last time a week felt long. Really long. It was probably a week when everything changed. A trip to a country you'd never seen. A new job in a new city. The first week of a new relationship. Or the first week after a loss. Weeks like that feel enormous in memory, don't they? You can recall them hour by hour. A single week of travel can feel longer in your memory than 3 months of routine. That's not an illusion. That's your brain switching the recorder back on. A neuroscientist named David Eagleman ran experiments on exactly this. He wanted to know why moments of intense novelty and fear seem to stretch time. In one study, he had people fall backward from a height in a controlled setting, a genuinely frightening, brand new experience, and afterward they consistently believed the fall had lasted longer than it truly did. His conclusion was elegant. When your brain encounters something new and important, it records in much richer detail. And more memory laid down means more time felt. Fear does it. Wonder does it. Novelty does it. Anything that makes your brain sit up and pay attention and start recording again stretches your experience of time. So the terrifying speed of your years is not a sentence. It's a signal. It's your brain telling you that you've stopped collecting firsts. There's a name for the moment most of these firsts happen. Psychologists call it the reminiscence bump. When older adults are asked to recall the most vivid memories of their entire lives, an overwhelming number come from a single window, roughly ages 15 to 30. First love. First move away from home. First real job. First taste of freedom. That decade is stuffed with firsts, and so, decades later, it glows brighter in memory than any other stretch of life. And the quiet tragedy is what comes after. Once the big firsts are behind you, many people stop seeking new ones. The job becomes routine. The route becomes automatic. The weekends become a template. And with no new memories being laid down, the years begin to slip by faster and faster, until you find yourself standing in December again, wondering where it all went. But you are not trapped in that pattern. You never were. Because everything we just learned points to a way out. If dense, novel, memory-rich time feels long, then the way to lengthen your life, in the only way that actually matters to you, from the inside, is to fill it with new things. You don't need to move across the world, you just need to break the pattern. Take a different route home, and watch how the day suddenly has edges again. Learn something that makes your brain uncomfortable. Meet someone whose life looks nothing like yours. Say yes to the thing you'd normally decline. Put down the phone and let yourself be somewhere fully, so your brain has something worth recording. Every first is a stitch of time added back into your life. Every novel experience is your brain turning the recorder back on and stretching the moment wide. There's a beautiful irony hidden in all of this. Children don't try to make time slow down. They just live in a world that is endlessly, exhaustingly new, and time obeys. The secret was never to grip the clock tighter. The secret was to become curious again. To let the world surprise you the way it surprised you when you were 7 and the ocean was the biggest thing you'd ever seen. So the next time you feel a year slipping away, don't panic and don't mourn it. Ask yourself a simple question instead. What did I do this year that my brain had never seen before? And if the answer is nothing, that's not a verdict. That's an invitation. Time isn't running out on you. Your novelty is. And that is the one thing you can always, always make more of. You blinked, and it was December again. But this year, you were paying attention. And this year, when you look back, you'll find it was long enough after all.